Business leaders on the west side of Midtown are the latest group imploring Mayor de Blasio to close hotels that have been converted to homeless shelters during the pandemic. After residents of the Upper West Side called for the same thing, they were criticized for not in my backyard NIMBYism. As Chris Glorioso explains, the Midtown business leaders say this is different.
It is one of the pandemic's vexing problems. Most crime is actually down in Midtown, but videos like this, an unprovoked man slugging a random pedestrian, and scenes like these have fueled a perception that swaths of Midtown West are the Wild West.
The streets feel a little less safe than they were before.
Dan Biederman, Barbara Blair, and Robert Bonfatto are presidents of 3 West Side business improvement districts known as BIDs. They say the de Blasio administration's decision to turn Midtown hotels into temporary pandemic homeless shelters has led to a concentration of social problems like mental illness and addiction.
We must pick up like 75 to 100 needles a day.
Where can we put people where they're free from fear, where they're not living in the streets and defecating in the streets and harassing people in the streets?
The BIDs are calling on the mayor to close down hotel shelters or redistribute them more equitably across the 5 boroughs. They've created this map plotting 20 homeless hotels in Midtown West, and they want to fend off criticism that this is one of those NIMBY, not in my backyard crusades, because these BIDs actually fund homeless outreach teams like this one.
Good morning, sir. Still thinking about coming inside, man?
These social workers are from Urban Pathways, a nonprofit that tries to connect homeless people with permanent housing. On this morning, they found Alex Harper. He'd been living on the street for 2 weeks. He's a veteran of the Korean and Vietnam Wars.
I fought for my country, almost died for my country, or bled for my country. And to come home and get treated like this, I just want people to be able to get help.
Homeless New Yorkers are more likely to be victims of crimes than they are to be criminals.
Frederick Schack is president of Urban Pathways. For years, he has called on the city to fund more construction of these buildings with supportive services to not only provide apartments to homeless people, but also addiction and mental health counseling. New York City has a $2.3 billion budget for homeless services. That amounts to nearly $40,000 a year for every homeless person. Schack says that money could fund a lot of rent.
Are we spending that budget to help our homeless population wisely?
So there I would say no. And I've said it for years. The reality is that homelessness is the result of people not having a home, simply put.
The mayor's office has committed to creating 15,000 supportive housing units over 15 years. As for those temporary hotel shelters, the mayor says they will go back to normal.
The mayor continues to say, this is temporary, just be patient. Are you being patient?
Well, no, I mean, we're not patient at all. It's not good enough for a civilized society to say we're not going to take care of people that have mental illnesses and put them somewhere clean and safe.
The de Blasio administration did not respond to several inquiries for this story. In the past, though, City Hall has stressed clearing out those congregate shelters and putting homeless people in their own hotel rooms has prevented infections and saved lives during the pandemic. David, back to you.
News 4's team's Chris Glorioso. Chris, thank you.